What's going on, everybody? This is Explore New England at the 2018 Ocean State ParaCon in Harrisville, Rhode Island. We're really excited to be here, and we're going to give you a sneak peek of everything that's been going on. And here we are at the Explore New England table at the 2018 Ocean State ParaCon.
Hey everyone!
This is some of our photography we have for sale here. What you hear is our videos in the background.
Tired of people coming up. Is anybody there? And I yell and nobody.
That's a canvas print of Union Cemetery, which, if you've been watching our videos, is said to be the most haunted cemetery in the United States.
I like to throw in a little bit of my family history. Everybody's got crazy family history, so this is a print of a newspaper article from World War II. This is my grandfather, and he was struck by lightning while getting his toolbox out from underneath the plane in Hawaii, and he actually did die, and they did revive him. So yeah, so that's the whole article about that. This is a water moccasin snakeskin that I actually found while I was out working. So, you know, pretty neat.
Yeah.
This is an early 1800s iron. So you would latch it like that. So that's the iron, there's the bottom. But the cool thing about it is, you know, you had to heat it up with coal or wood, whatever your choice was at the time, but that's how, now you couldn't plug it in. No
Yeah.
Of course, good old Rocky Point tickets there. And this fellow, we're working on it. This was given to me by a friend of mine. It was in his grandmother's attic in a trunk, and they cleaned her house out because she passed away, and he was gonna throw it away, but I took it, and I brought it here because I've been getting all different opinions on it, so someone's gonna come over and tell me a definitive answer on it.
That's
so
great.
Personally, I don't know.
So I used to have one of these. It's a Howdy Doody doll. I don't want to hold it, but
I don't know. Okay, you don't have to hold it, but
Okay.
I'll kind of, where do you want me to position him?
just put him right here
Okay, I'll lay him flat. How's that?
as his neck turns to me.
Right,
I'm just kidding.
There we go. All right.
So what's the history on it?
All I can tell you is my a friend of mine I've known him since the 4th grade.
Yeah.
His grandmother passed away a few weeks ago. They were cleaning out the house. They were up in the attic cleaning the attic out. They found him in a trunk in the attic. So my friend, called me and said, this thing, it's kind of creepy. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And he's gonna throw it away, and he knew, I do the curiosity stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I said, yeah, I'll take it. So, and I knew exactly where I wanted to bring it just to get an opinion on it. I had all different types of opinions, and I was referred to you. So I'm here.
Well, as scary as it is, it reminds me of my childhood.
That's what I try telling people that it wasn't meant to be evil. It's meant to be like a child's toy,
Yeah,
So,
and honestly, and that's the thing. It's like I'm not getting anything like negative or anything from
Good.
that. So the energy that I get is like very childlike.
Oh, good.
But it could be from a child playing with the doll.
Right.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it used to work. It doesn't anymore. It just opens them. It doesn't.
So with one, my sister had this one, and I had the Shirley Temple. And
Oh,
there's
Jesus.
pictures of me. I gotta ask my mom, and that's why this doll isn't scary to me unless it
Yeah,
moves.
it doesn't bother me. I mean,
It's like turning. Like, yeah. So I could see if someone feels anxious holding this because, like I said, I'm getting like a childlike energy with it.
Yeah.
And whenever a child energy comes through, it's literally like, I remember the first time I did a reading for children, it was almost, it's like a 5-year-old running back and forth, like, let me show you this, blah, 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 blah. The energy is just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, It's not like I'd keep this guy in my bedroom or anything.
No, I don't. But I just wanted to get a definitive answer because, I've heard different things all weekend, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that energy is like the little crazy energy, but it could be from like just kids playing with it, just residual time.
Oh, that's cool. There you go. I like this right here is a 1940s Ouija board, but it's made by Fortune Industries. It's a very rare board. You don't really find many of them. I've owned the board for 6 years now. I've only seen one other one actually in existence, but they are a very rare board. Up top, this is pretty cool. I picked this up in Salem. This is the best I can guess, mid 1800s, but it's as you can see from Essex Street, Salem, Mass. It's about hand-sewn ladies' button boots, but it's an advertisement for like the top, like the Air Jordan of ladies' boots from Victorian times. So that's an old advertisement, which is really cool.
Great.
Up here we've got this is a letter from Richard Ramirez to one of his many pen pals. Guy was on death row, but what I like about the letter is he talks about watching the movie Ghost Rider and being on the internet and going on eBay and so. And then below it, this is an occult piece by Alfred Gaynor. He's a convicted murderer. He's up in Massachusetts. I believe he's from Worcester, and he's in the prison in Springfield. It's an occult style piece, but he was never really known with the occult. I think he just did this more for show. But I do have it transcribed. I just don't have the paper on me, but I do know what all the meanings are. It's really not a bad piece. It just looks it, but it's really not. And then here, this is a dated 1858. That's a bloodletting flame. So more kind of like early medicine. If you had some type of ailment, they would just cut you with that and basically drain you all your blood and say, okay, you're cured. So actually, that's because of that practice. George Washington, it made him worse, and he actually died because of that. Wow. Yeah. So this is just a cool deer skull that I found. We had to fix his chin. That's bone cement, but yeah, it's a neat little deer skull we found. And here is just this is just a poison bottle. This is a liniment bottle, but it's got chloroform in it. Well, had chloroform in it, just to show what how poisonous every day. Besides, this is embalming fluid. That's an old embalming fluid bottle. That's an embalming fluid syringe, but this still has the fluid in it. That's from like the early 40s. But I like these two bottles because these are just everyday household items, and it had chloroform in it. You know what I mean? So things back then were totally different. These are pretty cool. These are kind of sad. These are Westboro State patient cards, and the reason why I like to display them is because they have all their diagnoses on the cards, but a lot of things that they would diagnose with today can be cured. You wouldn't be put in asylum for that. You know what I mean? So it's sad, but I like to display them because it, it's a piece of history. It's a piece of history. Yeah. People get a sense of what people went through, but also how far we've come. With medicine and being, how far doctors have come, psychology and everything.
Absolutely.
So pretty neat. These are pretty gnarly. Those are halo screws that go into your cranium when you get a halo. I keep them in there because I hide the points underneath because they are extremely sharp. And I really wouldn't want those drilled into my head. Yeah. Right? These are just simply deer ribs that came from the same deer where I got the skull. This is pretty cool. This predates Garbage Pail Kids. This is a Wacky Packages Silly Saver Bank. This is from 1981. What they did for that year, they kind of like, this is from the Fab laundry detergent, so they kind of did like theme stuff like Garbage Pail Kids would do. They did like Wheaties ones. They're very hard to find, because they just made a cardboard and cheap tin. So I'm fortunate enough to have one of those.
I used to love those cards, Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, and that's basically all that is. It just predates the actual Garbage Pail Kids. This is an original actually barf bag that you would get when you went and saw The Mark of the Devil, and it was supposed to be so scary that it would make you vomit. So wow. they were giving those out. Obviously the person who owned it, I guess, didn't get scared. But the first film rated B for violence, so it was supposed to be a big to do. Up here, just a simple Linda Blair autograph from The Exorcist, but this is a cast of her face, but they made two casts, one with her normal face, and then they made one where they recasted it and they used it for the makeup. So as you can tell, this is one of the ones they used for the makeup because it's there on the forehead, it's right there, over here, You got it over there, and then on her chin, you got the marks on her chin, the dried lips. So they were doing like makeup tests on that before they actually
Applied it to her.
Applied it, yeah, exactly. This is one of my all-time favorite pieces. Everybody loves Universal Monsters. I love the Wolfman, and that is Lon Chaney, who played, well, Lon Chaney Jr. to be exact, but he played the Wolfman. This is a cast of him, but this is when he was actually a little older. This was actually after he played the Wolfman. And that's an actual Lon Chaney autograph, which is really cool because they're hard to find. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. This right here, this is mid 1800s, probably Civil War era. I'm not sure if they were slave shackles or prisoner shackles, but either case, they are original shackles. They are very heavy. They are very uncomfortable. They are in perfect working order. I actually locked myself in them, so not fun. I put the shackles out because if people want to try them on, have at it. They are uncomfortable. They are heavy.
Yeah.
And just imagine having those on for years, days, months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a little Alf costume. I mean, who doesn't love Alf?
Right.
These are early paper mache pumpkins. I would say around the 40s. The cool things about these is they still have the paper faces in it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them you find they don't have the faces in it. This back here is a 1952 Ben Cooper costume. It's actually perfect. It's got the little suit behind it, which is actually made out of cloth, not like plastic like the Alf.
Yeah.
And then here, this is pretty cool. I was actually looking for a copy, an older copy of Dracula, and this is a 1927 copy of Dracula, but as you can see, it's from the library from the Essex County Sanitarium, which is from New Jersey. Wow. Yeah, so I don't know if that's the exact book I'd want, you know,
I know, right?
people reading when they're in that state, but hey, whatever, they felt it necessary, so it was there. And then here, this is by a gentleman, these are made by a gentleman named Matthew Brown. He owns a shop in Florida called Art Mortis, and this is an Oracle deck. This is a copy of the original deck, but the original deck is painted in his blood. He bled himself for the paint, and he had an artist paint the cards for him out of his blood. So that is a copy. That's not the, you know. Yeah, so
That's amazing, though.
Yeah, and the same person, he made, this is a Germanic style rune set, and this is made out of buffalo bone and buffalo blood. But just for the record, before I bought it, I asked him where he obtained it, and he actually got leftovers from a slaughterhouse. So, you know, so in a way, it's you know, he's still using what was left of the animal. So I'm okay with that.
Wow.
And this piece up here, I brought it out today. It's obviously it's a Hocus Pocus original movie poster.
My favorite.
The cool thing about this one is when they had the 20th anniversary of the movie, they had a big thing at Disney for it.
Yeah.
And they actually found posters they had stored at Disney that were original movie posters. My friend works at Disney, and he grabbed me 2 of them.
Wow.
Doesn't make it like $1 million piece, but the
It's
story behind it's
fantastic,
really
though,
cool.
yeah.
So it came from the 20th anniversary of the movie, so
that's
and
great.
it was stored for a year. Never saw the light of day till you know I got it.
Oh, you have some
Yeah,
amazing
everything.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's part of my personal collection.
Do you have a website where people can check you out? Or
Right now I'm on
in
Instagram.
Facebook?
You can just go on Doc Lantern Curiosities,
Okay.
and you can find it there. And if anybody watches and they want me to show up to an event, I show up for free. You know, I love to talk, so yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah,
You
I
gotta
got
have
plenty
him
more. I
here.
got plenty more. I can be kid friendly, or I can go pretty gnarly.
Amazing.
Show the
Oh,
rooms.
let me show those real quick here. We got to get those. Those are amazing. Wow. And those are all, you made those yourself,
I
right?
did, yeah. Yep.
I remember they were so popular last year.
I brought 10. I got 3 left. So
Wow.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah,
Doing okay.
absolutely.
Good,
I
yeah.
just enjoy making them. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really is a lot of fun. So
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
yeah, no problem.
I am the event coordinator and ghost tour manager for the Oliver House in Middleborough, Massachusetts. The Oliver House is a Revolutionary War home. It was built in 1769 as a wedding present for Peter Oliver and his young bride, Sally Hutchinson, who was the daughter of Governor Thomas Hutchinson.
Oh, wow.
Now, the family lived there only a short while. This is a really cut and dry, quick history for you. The family only lived there maybe less than 5 years because they were chased out by the Sons of Liberty. This is prior to the breakout of the Revolutionary War, the official battle. The family was run out of their home and they fled to Nova Scotia and then eventually went to England and they never returned. We have the walls inside the house that people used to go and hide inside of, and then they would conceal themselves whenever there was danger outside to protect themselves. We have a lot of activity throughout the house, both from the 1700 time springs, and we believe even earlier than that, because the land itself was Wampanoag Indian tribe that lived and inhabited on that land, and over 3,000 of the Wampanoag died when the smallpox epidemic broke out, and there were so many bodies that were on the ground and so many weak people that they couldn't bury the dead. So we believe a lot of that is actually the energies that we're picking up out in the woods on the property. So you've got the house, you've got the 55 acres, but the house is a hot spot in itself too, because we have at any given time 15 different people who lived in that house at one point, and I say lives in that house now because there's something very much alive in their personalities that resides there, their impressions or imprints are left behind. And we do believe that they feel very comfortable in their space, and they're starting to open up more and more to tell their stories to us. And this house was actually slated to be knocked down and multi-million-dollar apartments to be built there, but one of the townspeople stepped in, and a couple of the other historical people stepped in and kind of stopped the brakes on that and explained that once it was knocked down, it was no good anymore, all the history would be lost. So history and the paranormal go hand in hand with each other. It's important to understand this because we can use that to do some really positive things in the field. We can change the course of history by embracing it and teaching people a very respectful way. And at the Oliver House, that's exactly what we do. We have events, we bring equipment to the table, we teach people about how the equipment works, what sets it off, what's false positives on the equipment, and we just allow them to explore and open themselves up and feel what this house is really like. And walk away at the end of the night with the knowledge that they came in and their money helped keep the power on, it helped put a new roof on, it helped pay for applications for grants to do bigger work for the house. So the volunteers there never make a dime off of it. Our payment is much more valuable by looking back and seeing how far we've come and watching this house come back to life and becoming one with it, because as long as we're there, we start to build a respect between the energies there. They know us as sort of a part of their family, and they know as long as we're around that they're safe and it's okay to come on out and entertain guests that are in there. Oh, okay, so I can tell you a little bit about this picture. Nick Groff actually filmed Paranormal Lockdown in the Oliver House, so he was there for 3 days. This is actually, I think this is his location, scout manager. And this was filmed, actually the photograph was taken inside the Benjamin Franklin room, the Ben Franklin room at the Oliver House. Now, he's sitting in the chair here, and then I'm in the window still talking. And I put up my hand because he starts to feel the cold spot, and I say something about it. Now, he never puts his arms up, but this wraps around him. There's a lady across the table from him that was a visitor there that night for the tour. She happened to snap these pictures, snap, 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 and she caught the arms going around him where he said he was cold.
Wow.
So that's a pretty amazing catch by someone who's just visiting the house.
Yeah.
And we encourage folks to do just that. But this is our little ghost dog monkey. In this picture, you'll see right here he's starting to manifest. And then over here, you can see he actually comes in a little bit closer.
Wow.
This was taken by descendants of the family that lived in the house years ago.
Really?
They had traveled from California and Chicago, and then they sent this to me after their tour, and they was like, by the way, you know, we saw this, but we also photographed it. We weren't sure if it was going to come out, but it did.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to share this. I said, can I share this with others? Absolutely.
That's
but this was
fantastic.
taken by the Sproat descendants last summer, actually.
Really?
Yeah, when they came up.
Oh, that's fantastic. So everybody go visit right there. All right.
And the tickets to our events is at www.discovermiddleborough.eventbrite.com. We do private investigations, are reasonable. They're like $300, and you have the house from 6 to midnight.
Oh, that's great.
For up to 10 people.
Wow, so that's definitely a good deal.
Anybody
Yeah.
over that's like 35 additional, but
Yeah.
most people are under that 10. So
Wow.
it's a have the whole house and the 55 acres for that amount. So
That's great. Oh, perfect.
I don't think there's any question in the minds of anybody that's worked in this field for any length of time that the spirit activity in that house came to an abrupt end when we left that house. It did not. Horses or cows used to be fed in the trough. I saw a white light, just a tiny ping of a light, and walked down into the trough area, and I had my dad's digital at the time, and I just went click, click. And then when we blew everything up and I looked at what turned out to be an orb, there's an image of a girl inside the orb, and her head is out the top of it and her legs are hanging out the bottom of it. I'll post it for all of you to see.
Yeah, I didn't catch anything with my camera that day, but
I did.
But you sure did.
I sure did. But then again, when I went into that barn, I knocked on the door, I asked their permission to come in, I asked their permission to photograph them. And as soon as I started getting photographs that I could see apparitions in the viewfinder, I said, thank you for coming. And then I heard a disembodied voice say, we're always here. I want you to speak to the notion of bringing paranormal investigators in if you feel that stirs up more activity, like when the Warrens came, or if it actually was helpful. I want your perspective on that for them to share. And I also want you to share what happened the first time that I took you back to the farm after 30 years.
And I brought my cameraman with me because I wanted to try to videotape as much as we could. And we had several episodes while I was there. But this one time I remembered what I call her Mrs. John Arnold. A lot of people disagree with me, but after investigating, I think this lady who hung herself in the barn back in 1797 was the woman that was creating all kinds of problems in the house as far as my ex-wife was concerned. So she was very nice to me, she was very nice to my kids. And daily she would come to me and she would just rub her finger across my back, or her hand across my back. And I'd say, well, that feels good, and she would do it again. So this was her way of communicating with me. She communicated other ways, but this was the way that she communicated with me almost daily. So I told Nanny that I would really like to check and see if she was still downstairs in the basement. And the basement has several sections. One was a place where they used to make paints, so they could paint the house or whatever. The second one was where they made candles. In each one of these rooms you could find remnants of candle wax and remnants of paint stains on the walls. And then there was one other section which they called the milk room. It had a well, and it had a sort of tile floor, to speak, but I guess it was just broken stone. And that's where everything was happening. Underneath the staircase was where they threw old dishes and cups and things like that, which we dug up. So I wanted to find out if she was with me, so I just told Manny, I said, Manny, just follow me around, and we'll see. So we walked up and down. On the dirt, everything was dirt floors in those days. The walls were made of rocks rather than concrete, and they had an aroma, a smell of unlike anything else that I've ever smelled before in my life. So we walked back and forth, and then all of a sudden, I stopped, and I talked to her very nicely. I'll tell you another story about that, but in the meantime, I talked very nicely and sweet to her because that was the only thing she understood. If I got angry with her, she'd walk away from me. And that's very true, you know. But anyway, I was standing there and all of a sudden I felt something come down my shirt, right? And she rubbed my back from inside the shirt this time, not outside. So I knew that she had not forgotten me. This was 30 years later. And I knew I had to change. I had gray hair, I had white hair or whatever, and she was still there for me. And then he got very excited over that, and now we have it all on tape. So, but the real thing that started that was when she started trying to get close to me upstairs. And she followed me around the house, and she took care of the kids, and she tried to be very nice to me. But
Check magnets.
well, they're so full of bees. But to tell you the truth, to show you just how bad she hated to be talked to badly or roughly, or I came home off the road one time and I went into the kitchen and I cooked something to eat because I'd just driven in from Niagara Falls. It was a long trip. And I got home and was hungry, so I went to the freezer and I got some, what do you call it? Scallops. And all of a sudden, my wife walked in and said, do you know what Monday is? I says, what's Monday? She says, it's Labor Day. I says, oh, really? And I says, yeah, I'll stay home. I won't go anywhere. It's a holiday. We'll work with the kids and play with the kids and so forth. And she says, no, that's not the problem. She says, the next day, the kids have got to go back to school, and they need shoes. I says, oh boy. She says, let's go to Webster and go to the Little Red Shoe House and buy the shoes. And I said, you know, I just sat down, I'm tired, and can we just hold off till tomorrow? And she says, oh gosh. She says, don't worry about it. She says, I can take them, I don't need you. She says, enjoy yourself, enjoy your food, enjoy. So I sat down, I started to work a crossword puzzle. And they weren't going like 3 or 4 minutes, and I heard footsteps in the cellar stairs. Now you gotta understand, these people know what it looks like. The kitchen, I had a round kitchen table, which my grandfather made probably 100 years ago. And I was just sitting there enjoying, and I hear the footsteps, and I looked up. And right in front of me, to the left, is the doorway to the foyer. The foyer has a door on the right-hand side which goes into the cellar. Next to that is a staircase which used to go up into Andrea's bedroom. The next door went into the dining room, and then the front door against the front wall. And then all of a sudden, I heard the latch in the cellar door. And the door slid open by itself. And it opened about halfway, and I could see it then. It was just staying there. I don't know how it did that, because the door slants this way. It should have closed back again, but it did not. It stayed right there. And then all of a sudden, the door opened up and went up against the wall. And I says, oh boy. And then I see this it's like a smoke screen, no, like a veil or a cloud. She is trying to present herself to me. Now, if I had been smart, right, I'd have said, well, anything good takes a long time to do. So let her keep going, and I was hoping that she would come to me, right, sit there and talk to me, and I'd probably be one of the first people in history to ever sit and talk to a spirit and get responses. And I just sat there and I walked and I waited and I waited and I waited. So finally I just looked into the doorway and I says, okay, you old witch, either come in here and sit and talk to me or just get the heck out of here. And she slammed the door, and she was gone. And then I said to myself, Roger, you're a jerk. You're a jerk. You had the opportunity and you blew it and you threw it away. Well, for the next 5 to 6 months, she wouldn't come near me again. She used to rub my back every day. I couldn't get her. I'd go downstairs, I'd apologize, I was sorry, and so I tried every which way. She still would not